Hello, heroes and villains. Welcome to Multiverse. Today is our fourth episode of Let's Talk, if I recall correctly. And today we have a special guest, Mr. Iconic Simulation. So while I do try to adjust my setting on my side, I'll let our friends take over.
All right, thank you, Multi. Greetings, heroes and villains. Welcome to episode 4 of Let's Talk DCUO. If you missed a previous episode, you can find others assembled on a playlist in this channel. What this is Multi, myself, Nyx, and others such as Iconic Simulation for today will join together to fight a bounty spam or simply just talk. There's nothing special to look at on the screen. There's no editing. So, it's something easy for Multi to create a playlist, and we just talk for an hour or so. We will be discussing our DCO news updates upcoming for the channel, any possible ideas for any future projects. But finally, we will move on to our 2 to 3 topics that we have come prepared to discuss. The topics may include our favorite DLCs. Oh, my bad. Can you?
You gotta get control of his dog for a second.
Evil dog.
Have the dog as a guest. That's the dog wanting to join in. He wants to be part of the fun.
All right, Johnny, keep going.
Sorry about that. Okay, where was I here? What was I talking about here? Oh yeah. So we could be talking about our favorite DLCs. New layer or base ideas, new time capsules. It could be anything. So sit back and relax and enjoy us just talking about anything and everything DCO for an hour or so. Today we will be joined by our guest, Iconic Simulation. Say hello.
Hello.
And well, y'all probably seen him on DC Universe, YouTube videos on before, but anyways, he's a top tier tank in all of DCO. He has been doing videos on the game for about 7 years. I think close to about 1,000 subscribers. Is that correct?
Yeah, we're getting close. We're about 90 subscribers away and counting. I got an awesome community.
So yeah, don't forget to subscribe to Iconic after the video. Our hosts, Iconic Simulation hosts special events and parties in game and also works with charity organizations such as Arnold Palmer Hospital alongside Extra Life for Kids. You've probably seen that before because other YouTubers have also covered Extra Life before. We will leave details in the comments down below if any of you want to donate to the Children's Miracle Network. It's the 4th year running this. It's his 4th year running this. Iconic Simulation, also known as a man who has pretty much done every style possible in the game, is here now to basically be here and be our guest on the show. So before we begin, Multi, how are you doing today?
I'm good. Before we continue, let's say hello to people who joined us. So hello Dudley T, hello Moody 2099, hello Pops, hello Copper Ninja. So I hope you guys have had a good weekend. And so far the weekend has been pretty good over here. It's been a bit chilly today, but overall we had a good weekend. And how about you guys?
I've been looking forward to this episode for a long time. For those of you who know Iconic and what his tanking capabilities are like, I've worked with Iconic since I pretty much have started on this game. When I was back in the OG villain Hive, it's easy to contact someone like Iconic because we're fellow PC players. Hashtag PC for life. That being said,
I thought you were going to say PC Master Race.
PC Master Race. Yes, sorry, that's what I meant to say.
He came very close to that.
I screwed up. No. That's what I meant to say, honestly. But yeah, no, he's a fantastic tank, great person to work with, and I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun. I know Nyx was also in Evil Kings. We had all sorts of crazy stuff we did back in the day. We even had crazy mock weddings. I believe, yeah, one in particular. The good old days of DCUO.
Yes, the classic days.
All right. And today, so just to make it clear, we are doing this on a trial basis. So this might be a monthly thing, depending if Multi likes it or not. So please, I know Multi doesn't say it in his videos, but I'm going to plug it now. Like, subscribe, and leave a comment. It's one of the ways that you can help and support this channel. So please do that if you can. But anyways, let's get started. But before we get started, actually, sorry, we should probably do a channel update on your channel, Iconic and Multi.
Let's say Iconic start.
Okay.
Channel update as in like what's going
What kind
on
of
recently?
videos? Yeah, what kind of videos have you been doing? Other than obviously the recent video.
I just put out a recent video for the 21-day reward. Really cool. It was pretty good because the swords allow for a lot of tinting, which I didn't really know was an option until they like briefed us a little later. So I thought that was like super cool. So go ahead and check that out. I did like 2 different styles. I'm sure some more will come down the pipeline. Is like I kind of like get inspired by a few things. I also did a bunch of mega style videos. One of my style videos is called the mega video. Has like over almost 20 styles in it. So every time I make a style in game, I'm really trying to shift it over to where it gets put in a video and trying to unrestrain myself with themes and pick what themes I want, but also to kind of just let things be free flowing so that if it doesn't quite match this theme, it's still going to end up in a video. You're still going to be able to benefit from looking at some cool styles. And then my community knows me. They can always comment, and they know that I'll always reply with the best answer possible that I can give them for the styles and hopefully where to get them, or at least if I don't know, I'll point them to who does. So that's kind of how I work. Yeah.
Great.
Multi, what about you?
Go ahead. Go ahead,
Multi?
Oh, yes. I thought Nix wanted to say something.
No, I was saying I was kicking it over to you, Multi.
Okay. As far as an update, I made a video about the latest artifact. Some of you guys had questions about that. And from what I understand, even the evil Obsidian Chill did not make his video just yet. So some of you guys did seem to have a lot of questions about that. For those wondering also, I did not mention it in the video, but it seems to be an artifact inspired by Vixen because of the animal power type thingy. So if you have a Vixen character, you will need that artifact. You have no choice. I guess it could work also for a character like a Buona Beast and probably others I failed to mention. Animal Man would come to mind. So if you have an animal-themed character, that could be a nice artifact to have. It's a bit clunky to use, though. Against mobs, it's almost pointless because mobs die too quickly. And even against bosses, it's a bit challenging to use because sometimes there's mechanics involved. So sometimes you have to stop your combos to try to go do the mechanic, or sometimes just get out of the way if you have to move to avoid some AoE. So it's I did not crack the code just yet on how to use it. And obviously I showed it the other day with Hand Blasters and the Bow Mastery because that's what I usually use. But obviously Brawling would probably be a better option with that artifact. So I thought I could add a few extra details that I did not mention in that video. Also, I did not make sadly videos about the 21-day rewards just yet. Hopefully later this week I'll be able to do that. We're gonna have to wait and see for that. And there's the Starfire Ally video. I might be able to do it a bit later tonight. We'll see how it goes. There's a few fun things about the Starfire Ally. It does give you like the long. One of the ability does give you an animation of like the long fire hair that the Starfire is supposed to have. So I could see some Starfire inspired character use the ally, not even for the ally itself, but just for the effect. Like I could see some cosplayers use the ally just to get some nice fire effect in their hair if they recreate a Starfire type character.
I mean, I can think of a few characters that might be able to use it too. other than Starfighters. So
No, because
see
it, it really the hair the fire effect is really it goes all the way down the back of the character as if it has the long Starfire hairstyle. So it
I
wouldn't
know.
work. It wouldn't work for a character like, let's say, Ghost Rider.
Oh, I wasn't thinking of Ghost Rider. I was just thinking of other characters that might be able to use it. But
Imagine.
I mean, there is
Imagine.
one that could work technically, but
Which one? Say it. Say it.
it's a female version that could technically work if you, but
Doesn't
A
matter. Say
female
it.
version Ghost Rider. That's what it's got to be.
Female
of.
Ghost Rider with fire hair. Fire
Nah,
material on the
Kind of.
hair.
Once you'll see the effect,
of.
you'll realize it wouldn't work.
All right.
Some things
Well-
I noticed on the forums lately, if you don't mind me plugging out the forums now, some things that I've noticed. I'm going to get you guys' opinion on this.
Go ahead.
So there was one topic here that I think is actually quite interesting that I saw on the forums recently. It says, get rid of generator battery decay. With all the changes of what they've made recently, like we don't have to repair now when it comes to if you die a lot in an instance or wherever you are, you don't have to repair anymore. But like that's an interesting concept because I find that, especially for my alts, their generator batteries decay. I know it's the same time frame for everybody else. It's 30 days. But it's just, you tend to forget about these things. You forget about them over time. I don't know. What do you guys think? Would you guys want that to go away? Or do you like it the way it is?
Here's the thing, all right? I think that it's a good thing that they actually have it the way it is. For one thing, all right, is that for people that it's like a punishment system almost, right? If you don't play the game much, right, and you just log in, log out, you're wasting your source marks, right? You're not gaining source marks because you're just logging in, logging out. You're not playing content. You're not getting source marks. Eventually, if you just do that on repeat, you're gonna lose all. You're gonna be broke of source marks. So it forces people to get on and actually play and run content to keep their source marks up.
Nah, it's freaking annoying. Especially when you're one of the worst part is that you do not control when it expires. Like you have to wait until the very last second that it expires before you can actually renew it. And sometimes you'll be halfway through into a raid, the freaky thing expires, and you have to finish the raid without your buffs. So it's freaking just for that. It's freaking annoying. They should either get rid of that or make it so that we can pay in advance. They have to change it. And also when you have a lot of alternate characters, it's freaking annoying to try to do that for every single characters. So they need a better system than what they have.
Before Iconic makes his opinion on it, before you do, I just want to say like one other thing. You could be in a raid, right? And you don't even know that your batteries are gone because not too many people check their inventory to make sure that their supply drop is going to be max and their white mods on their weapons and all that kind of stuff are all checked. They're all going to be there. You could go into an instance and be like, oh, great, I got the crappy supply drop that only benefits me. Well, that's great. I'm now at a cost to my group, and that could have been beneficial if I was told this in advance before I went into my instance. Go ahead, Iconic. I'd like to hear your
I can't tell you how many times I've dropped a supply drop and it's only got the containers.
Yeah.
The balls. That's annoying. It's a very outdated system that I would recommend they revamp. To be perfectly honest, it doesn't. I don't think they even think it serves a meaningful purpose. It's that old of a system. I think it's just one of those legacy systems. They've kind of just let it go on for a while, but I don't think it really serves a purpose. With how many source marks people get anyway, that's almost as trivial as leveling up your generators with cash as like a money sink. It doesn't really serve that much of a purpose.
Okay, and go ahead.
For me, I just feel like there's too many people out there that literally just log in, log out. That's the issue and that's why I say that it does work, because it kind of makes people actually just get on more than 1 minute, and like for example, like right now it's pretty dry. I'm not gonna say it's not. It is pretty dry. Like if it wasn't for all the little things, such as me having to do, the daily login to get my rewards, to do my daily what do you call it, stabilizers. If it wasn't for like the daily missions, like if they didn't have all these things that had an expiration, you would kind of like have no reason to get on. So I'm all for them having it because it makes people actually have to grind source marks to stay relevant.
I here's I kind of feel, this is just me. I feel that instead of punishing your players into playing, maybe we excite them into playing. You want them to get on because they want to be here, not because they feel like if they don't, they're going to be behind or they're going to be punished for it. I don't think that is super great to run off of in terms of why you want your player base online.
Fair enough. But at the same time, you also got to think that with what they're able, because you got to think they have a timeline, right? They have a limited amount of stuff that they're able to release. Right now, with the lack of everything, they have to do something, you know? And this is kind of like their way of like doing that, keep doing something while like not having anything released, you know? It's their way to just passively keep people online. You know.
Okay, but what if they put it in a new spot? Like, what if you could just access it simply off of your inventory
Or a bot.
or a bot?
Bot. That makes it
Or in
easy.
your
Make
artifacts
it.
By the
area.
way,
Well, there's already the mainframe bots, so I guess
There you go. Yeah.
the argument would be get yourself some mainframe bots.
Yeah. There you go.
Fair argument. All
by
right.
the way,
the
Iconic,
last...
you need to move your character.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
make
away.
sure you guys are always trying to move
There
your
you go.
characters periodically. One last thing I'd noticed is the homecoming seasonal rewards. As I don't know if you guys noticed from what we said already, but the homecoming seasonal has already started on the test server, and some of the rewards have been put out. Not all of them. So, what do you guys think from what you've seen so far? If you've seen them, I haven't seen a whole lot myself.
The emote
Looking
is
forward.
10 out of 10. I love it.
Oh, yes, that's the one thing I have seen. That looks fantastic.
all
Everything else
those
looks great.
ravens. Yeah.
Yes.
All the and the material. I love the material. That material makes me think of Steppenwolf from the Snyder
yeah.
cut. That's
Yeah.
what it reminds me of. You could make a really nice Steppenwolf from that.
Could be.
I
So-
have no idea. I haven't seen anything like that, so I'm kind of like wondering what you guys are talking about.
Well, the first thought I had with the material was Dazzler from the 70s. In the late 70s, Dazzler had this shiny, white shiny costume that was kind of like supposed to be like a disco ball. She even had a little necklace with a disco ball on her neck. So Dazzler is the first example that came to mind with that material. Well, yeah, I guess Steppenwolf with that because there's also some animation into the material. It kind of suggests when Steppenwolf was kind of sort of shifting his spikes or his quote unquote material in this character in the movie. So yeah, I could see some Steppenwolf being made with that. We're gonna have to try it out. The emote is pretty much the best part of the thing. Again, cosplayers will be very happy with this one. Uh, Obviously, it's going to be limited to characters like Raven or maybe Doctor Fate or maybe even Doctor Strange, but it's overall a nice emote. Although in this case, people are gonna have to gather collection. I guess they're trying to get back to getting people to gather collections to get stuff, which they pretty much had stopped for a while. But now they seem to want to go back into that system. As for just to come back to the mainframe for half a second, as for removing the mainframe or changing the mainframe, right now I think the devs have a lot on their plates, but probably even too much. They probably have too much that they can handle right now, so I wouldn't expect anything done to the mainframe anytime soon. Although they do have different teams working on different stuff, so maybe they do have one team that's only working on quality of life, and maybe they could look into that. But right now, they seem to be struggling enough that I wouldn't expect any changes on that front. As for the homecoming seasonal, we did not see any base items just yet, so I was a bit surprised to see how early they did put the seasonal on the test server. But then they only put part of the seasonal on the test server. So I'm curious to see what kind of base items they will add. Hopefully, it's going to be some Teen Titan themed base items, but we're gonna have to wait and see for that. And there is the Starfire ally that some people were suggesting that they would probably be added to the homecoming seasonal. I would bet that because we don't see it in the homecoming seasonal vendor, we don't see it either on the cyborg vendor. So my guess is that we are going to get it in a maybe new time capsule. We'll have to wait and see, John. With Johnny, we hear you. So we're gonna have to do. We're gonna have to wait and see when we actually get it. But I would guess that maybe we'll get a new time capsule with the Starfire Ally. But I could be wrong. Maybe they just did not add it to the vendor just yet. But were using people were using the T-Cool Ally as an example of allies added to the seasonals. But the Tickle ally was only like a level 5 ally. It wasn't a legendary ally. So I doubt they would add a legendary ally to the seasonal. So, and seeing how they did not add it to the Cyborg vendor, I would guess it's going to be part of a time capsule. But we'll see.
All right. Well, let's get started then, shall we? Just a quick note, reminder about our discussions today. We are strictly going off the top of our heads. We're not devs. We cannot make happen what we like to have happen. So here's today's layout of what we're going to do today. So first, a couple of rapid fire questions for our worthy guests to answer, and we can all add to it after their response if we like. We then proceed to the first main topic. Each person will have uninterrupted time to say their answer, and then the next person, and so on. Once all the answers are given, we ask amongst ourselves, who had the best and most logical answer? Next, we have one quick question to ask our guests, then move on to the second main topic. From here, we start to repeat ourselves, going from one rapid-fire question to the third main topic. And then lastly, we end with the last couple rapid-fire questions, and we come to a close with a stream, or we just randomly stay on and answer fan questions pending the time. So, our topics for the day are as follows. Pay attention, folks. Number one, if you were to design your own OP-style piece for a DLC of your choosing, what is it? The second topic is, design an HQ and describe your rooms. What possible base items would you add to it? And number three, what mechanics in an open world boss do you enjoy going against? What is your favorite open world boss? Lots to think about that you guys are pondering right now. So Johnny, why don't you start with the first rapid fire questions?
Absolutely. So, this is a question that I've had, Iconic. So I wanted to know, all right? So when I saw your channel, I don't know, a while back, I think it was like, the first time I saw your channel was like about a year before I released my server LFG. And I saw your videos were basically all about styles. But I always wondered, where did your name Iconic Simulation come from?
Okay, back in the day, I realized I wanted to make a whole bunch of different slew of styles, and I knew in the long run it would be smarter to have almost all my styles on one character, but I didn't want to lock my persona to one character. So I kind of like made my own character. So basically, if you don't mind me kind of elaborating, so my character, like his origin story is kind of supposed to be like he's a Brainiac drone that's salvaged by Lex Luthor in the future, and he's programmed with the last surviving Omezotech, and then he goes back in time with future Lex Luthor, and here we are today. So basically, he's supposed to have Brainiac Tech and Omezotech together, and he can take on different powers and take on different appearances. So that's kind of the short and sweet of like his origin story and kind of what he's built off of. So that name Iconic Simulation kind of embodies multiple characters. Like when you see that name, it's like, oh, you know, there's nothing worse than being like there's someone that has the name Hawk Girl, but they're dressed as Huntress, like something like that. Like, because I'd have plenty of people come by, because I did try a few different names, but I've had people come by and say, "Oh, you don't look like so and so." They're supposed to look. I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm just trying out another style. And then after a while, I'm like, I should just get a more general name that works all the time.
But you don't change powers. Yeah. That's false advertising.
Technically, you can change powers with artifacts. You get little abilities that kind of work like powers.
That doesn't count. But if you don't use a token, it doesn't count.
Fair enough. But you know what?
Yeah.
You know, speaking about your name, though, see, I always wonder where you got your name from, but I had a hunch that it came from something else. See, originally I thought maybe your name was inspired by the solo missions where you can become Huntress or Bizarro. That's where I thought your name came from. But it's interesting to know where that you actually got it from a different idea.
I've gotten that before. Definitely people asking me if that was part of it. I would like to think so, maybe without me really realizing it, but it wasn't the main reason. But I could see how it could be like correlated to that. Yeah.
Okay, well, moving on. Who or what inspired you to make your channel?
Oh, there's so many different creators. Of course, we have Multiverse here. He's been around for God knows how long. So we have Multiverse here, and then we have Obsidian Chill, and then there's someone that has the channel Only Gen. That is Objective. He's got a really cool channel. So those were kind of like the main core people I would see, and I also started my channel because I had quite a few, and this was in one of my videos. I did go over it, but I had people ask me like, "Why don't you do like YouTube?" And I just didn't see, I just didn't see the point, or I didn't think that I could really do it, and so I didn't for years. And then the game kind of got slow in certain areas, and I'm like, I gotta find ways to keep myself busy. So guess what? YouTube channel, was born, and I went ahead, and that's another outlet for me to still like be with DCUO and still do things within the game and to contribute to the community. Kind of like how I do the Halloween events. I love doing that, and it was because of another player that I do those events. So because Michael Grid used to do them way back in the day, and Meps would be dropping Trigons and bosses, and those were
Mm-hmm.
those were amazing as a new player for me. That was like mind blowing. So yeah,
Awesome.
so definitely.
All right, so let's get to our first main question of the Let's Talk. So if you were to design your own OP style piece from a DLC of your choosing, what is it? Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
All right.
I would try to make something, maybe like a weapon, something iconic. One thing, I'm not saying that because iconic is here, but one thing that's lacking in the game sometimes is iconic stuff. People love iconics. They love to recreate characters, Superman, Batman. I know that there are some people who complain whenever there's Batman styles that gets added to the game. There's always some complaining that, we got again there's some Batman stuff, but that seems to be the popular stuff that people want. Batman, Superman, the Flash. These seems to be the big three. And these have been the big three pretty much since we got the Flash TV show. So people want to create iconic characters, and I thought an iconic omnipotence piece of item, like maybe a batarang weapon, could be a fun thing to add. Like not just adding an OP like a headpiece or a belt, but adding actually weapons also could be an option, I think. And for the batarang, not just making it an item that would, let's say they create a batarang weapon that's an omnipotence item, and not just having to increase the stats, but what if also the item had abilities? What if, for example, the Batarang would give you the iconic attack that the Batman Legend character has, like the range attack that he has when he throws his Batarangs. So I would try to come up with stuff like that. Obviously, a Batarang would not be for everyone. If you don't use, it probably would be a dual wield weapon. Although it probably could be made into various other weapons and still be a sort of batarang type item and then give you the iconic Batman attack. Like we could push that even further, and what if it gave you the whole loadout of the Batman Legend character? That probably would be pushing it too much, but at least you're getting the iconic attack from the Batarangs. That would be a fun bit. And it's something also that's been highly, highly requested. Maybe not so much these days because I think people pretty much gave up on asking for stuff, seeing how there's so few stuff that we ask for that we actually get. But at some point, a lot of people are asking to get some of the iconic powers that the legend character has. the legend characters have, and I thought that this could be a fun bit for an omnipotence item. Not just making it an item that you upgrade by using a whole bunch of catalysts or stuff like that, but also making it a special item that once you do upgrade it, it gives you a special attack that you don't normally have. So I would go for items, maybe more special items or more unique items like that, in order to be able to give people what they're asking for, which sadly the devs don't seem to want to do sometimes. Next.
Awesome.
I'll go next, if you don't mind.
All right.
The reason why
Go
is because it's a very similar theme to that of what Malty was just saying. I want to take your minds back to a DLC you've likely forgotten. Halls of Power Part 1. Let that sink in for a second. That was almost a decade ago. I should know, I wrote it down. It was August 5th of 2014. In this DLC, we had a raid going through the Necropolis, and this is where the suggested OP piece comes from. You very likely tried to pick this up at one point or another, and yes, there are about 11 different variations of what you could have if this was to be made into an OP piece. By now, I'm sure some of you have already figured it out. I'm referring to the weapons that you pick up in the raid and the hidden various rooms. The urgent weapons were either the brawling, dual pistols, martial arts, or the shield. But I would think the developers could easily come up with the other 7. So I would want an enhanced style version of this. So keep the effect of what it does well after its usefulness. The effect is very simple, very self-explanatory. You wear it, and you become massively tall in height and appear in peak physical condition. Perhaps this effect could be turned on and off by activating your trinket or something like that. Okay, so just to summarize, people have been wanting these kind of weapons now for a long time. And having an OP piece be a weapon would be pretty cool. So let's just give it to them. Go ahead, whoever's next.
Well, I hate to say it, but I'm almost thinking like I'm liking your idea better than what I came up with.
Minor multis. Come on now, be honest. Mine.
Yours, because I've wanted that ability to grow for God knows how for you.
I know you have. That's why I picked it.
I don't know why I didn't think of that. So I had something that was similar, but not quite like yours. So I was kind of thinking more on the style aspect of it, not the working part of it, but I could still work that with what I'm thinking here. So for me, some of the best DLCs were the Lantern DLCs. We have the War of the Light, the Fight for the Light. I felt that those were some of the most robust DLCs, and they had some of the best mechanics. And so I was thinking more like a Sinestro Corps chess style, and I mean a proper one. And it could have an ability that happens every so often to where it has a chance to unleash hysteria and causes any enemies around you to be panicked. So that was kind of the way I was going. And another item I was kind of thinking of was like a Superman, like Kryptonian chess style, to kind of give people what they want. But I'm like, probably not going to happen. Probably not in the realm of what they may or may not be allowed to give us. So Sinestro Corps style, like something that's legit, has a real nice materials to it, has that nice shine to it, maybe has a glow added to it or something similar. That's more or less what I was thinking. And if I were to name it, I'd probably call it the Fearmonger's Chest Guard of Omnipotence. That's kind of where I went with that. Yeah.
Ooh. See, I kept mine super simple. Right? It's a style piece I've been wanting forever, and I thought it'd be perfect as an individual item. Deathstroke's classic mask. That's it. That's all I want.
Again, it's
Just
one of those
simple as
things.
that.
Yeah, but it's one of those things again that we've been asking for years and years, and somehow they seem determined not to give it to us. Maybe they'll make a liar out of me and they'll give it to us next Christmas or something. But right now, it doesn't seem to be likely we'll get something
Here's
like
my
that.
idea, right? Here's my idea, right? Is that okay? It's just a mask, but it could also be more than a mask. It could be an OP item, and the OP item can also give you additional stats on top of what OP items normally give you. For what I'm thinking is maybe it increases your precision significantly, right? Because Slade Wilson is a master marksman, so it makes sense for you to give you precision. So that's what my idea was.
It may be comic book inaccurate, but maybe it could have like an icon suit effect. You take
It
so much
could.
damage, and then it does like it goes off. It kind of like the artifact, but maybe to a lesser extent.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I mean,
Yeah.
because
this is
here's the thing, right? I want a reason to have the Deathstroke mask in the game. Like, I want an actual good reason to have it in there. You know, like, and I mean, yeah, we have one. It's called Master Mercenary, but it looks way too metallic, and it doesn't have those like bandana little thing on the back of it. You know, and that's the thing everybody loves is the little bandana, and they love the simplistic design, and we don't have that.
I know that in one of the old time capsule photos, there is a character. I believe it was the Amazonian, or maybe it was a Quardian. It was one of those early ones where they had a picture, and there was a character that was legit wearing his face style, his head style. So it is an asset, but there may be something that may be stopping them from putting it out, or maybe there has to be some further work done, or maybe it's just not an approved asset for the game. So yeah.
It's a shame.
Sadly, we'll never know.
all right. So what do you guys think? So Multi had the batarang, and it would also turn into the batarang throwing animation of Batman style in the Legends character, or maybe mine with the urgent weapons from that Halls of Power Part 1 DLC, Iconic's chest piece, or Johnny's face piece for Deathstroke. You guys let us know. All right, let's move on to the next rapid fire question. As a qualified expert in the field of creating layers or bases, is there anything more obscure than visiting the base of our old league mate back in Evil Kings? Yes, I'm talking about Sir Killa. Do you remember what we as a league had to do to make this happen? So just give us a little bit of a talk about one of your classic videos, Iconic. He showed off this base of a fellow league mate of ours. His name is Sir Killa. And I'll let you take it from here as to what this base was.
Okay, so Sir Killa, we called him the cat lady of the league because there was no floor in that base because you didn't need to touch the floor. You didn't need to even walk on the floor. You were walking on cats. That's how many Teakles were in there. Every Halloween, he would grind up as many marks as he could to get as many Teakles into that base as he could possibly stuff in there. And even when they kept raising the limits of the bases, he would just keep putting more in there. And if anybody ever remembered him, he used to do those super groups in Pawnee and all those special drop location raids so that he could get more money to buy more Teakle cats and to keep them in the base. And every so often, you'd be in league chat, and you just hear Teakles and growling and hissing going off all the time. And you would know he was in his base. You didn't have to look at your league log. You just listened to league chat, and you would hear all the cats.
He was.
Yes, yeah. And I almost feel like that was kind of almost a form of torture at some points, sometimes, especially if we're running raids and going for feats. Yes, I know sometimes he definitely did that on purpose, but it was funny. And I did make a video on it because I wanted to show how ridiculous it was. But yeah, it was amazing in its fact because it's one of those bases. It's a sewer base. Literally has nothing else but Teakle cats in it. That is all it has. Only one sort of base item.
Just envision that for a second. And if you have your sound effects on also on top of that, oh, the chaos. And you couldn't move around there, right? Because remember, what do Teakles also do to guests that aren't at their not like their master at their base? They'll attack you. So like there'll be times you can't even move. You can't fly. You can't get out of the way. You have 100 Teakles tackling you. Hilarious. And I'm so glad that you made that video because that brought me back to some solid memories that we had together.
Surf on a wave of cats.
we would all like team up. We would team up with Sir Killa. We would help him in the season and say, hey, okay, I have some extra currency. I can get you some Teakles. I had some extra drops of Teakles. We'll send him. He's like, send him in the mail. They keep them coming. Keep them coming.
Yeah,
I'll
it was
keep
a
throwing them
mission.
in.
It was a
It was
league
our
effort.
goal. we set up like plans in advance, saying like, okay, we gotta get those Teakles. We gotta do various things to get that going.
Yeah, Mr. J, we were asking him why he needed so many cats, but that was unclear at most points. It was he just wanted more cats, and more cats is what he was going to get.
Yeah, he never really told us that he needed to do that. Okay, next rapid fire question. Oh wait, no, it's not a rapid fire question. It's our next main question, everybody. So, describe an HQ and describe your rooms. What base items would you add to it?
Do you mind if I go?
Go for it.
All right. Because I have a feeling everybody's going to say this, so I want to be the first to say this.
Ghost Rider base?
No. The Hall of Justice. I want that. I want it. All right. I want to be able to have that, like, the design of, like, the pillars, everywhere. I want to be able to, like, when you look outside, I want to be able to see the, like, that big glass in most spaces. Well, I want that. When you look outside, you see the front entrance with that statue in the front that's made out of gold, and you see the lawn and everything. I want to see that with the fountain, and I want it to be, and because the hall is so big, it'd be perfect to fit, a league hall, and I think it's also a great excuse to redesign the layout as well of our league halls because it's a different layout. And then on top of that, for amenities, just give us actual, like, Watchtower and House of Legend amenities. That's all I want. I don't really care. I just want to be able to put amenities as if it's, like, an HQ, Base items, I don't know, a few base items that are kind of go with the theme of white is what I would like, tables, the regular stuff. Nothing too complicated, but the main thing is just I want the theme of the Hall of Justice.
Interesting. All right, I'll go next. All right, go ahead, Multi.
No, go on.
Want to add to that? Okay. All right. So my theme is gods. So for me, the main area in itself, as you go up the staircase, and you go up to the main room, the whole HQ is just, you're seeing a box. The one room is all you see. Now, don't freak out. So I have additional rooms, but you don't traditionally walk to get to them. You use mother boxes, magical trinkets, a fifth dimension snap, hellfire around you, and teleporters that bring you to these rooms. Okay, so the area in itself all of it looks cosmic. There's no walls. You just add on to what you need to add on to your bases or into this HQ, this league hall, to make it yours. Like if you want to add on to the wall piece, because you want to try to keep the god-like theme to this area, what I was thinking of. So anywho, let me describe to you my additional ways of how you get to these rooms. So the first of these trinkets that you would go up to, you would walk to try to get to these other areas, to teleport essentially. The first looks like a planet. It's half with life and half with fire. This is a call out to the new gods. You take it, you go to the mail room. And it's here with the use of lava streams as a form of a divider. On one side, it's Apocalypse, with lava rocks, fire pits, lava streams, and crates. Outside, because I want to make sure that each of my rooms has something outside. You know how you could, if you look out in some of the rooms, you could see some of the action that's happening outside of your HQ? I wanted that theme for my HQ that I was designing. So outside, behind the section, looks like an area of walking parademons with Granny Goodness and the Furies, and Darkseid's palace is in the distance. Okay. On the other side is New Genesis with bright green grass, butterflies flying around, and plenty of New Genesis vines and rock structures. Outside this section, you can see a bright blue sky with clouds and a floating city where the new gods live. Various members of New Gods will fly by on occasion, like Orion, White Ray, and maybe even Metron. The next planet orb that you would choose to go to if you wanted to go somewhere else in this HQ would be a half Olympus and half Underworld. I'm talking about the old gods now. Now here is where you're going to get your league banks. Using Underworld columns and plaques, chained skeletons, and more underworld-like themes. Outside, you can see the underworld shades walking around, the judges, Ares, and Hades sitting on his throne, passing a sentence to give some sort of an interaction up there. The Olympus side, with various statues of the gods, surround this area. Gilded floor plates in the background, as well as with the gods watching in a Colosseum-like structure. So if you watched outside, you would see Wonder Woman fighting various creatures as the gods cheer her on. Okay, so a demonic orange orb will take you to the PvP side of the security wing, where on one side is Trigon prisoners with hanging skeletons, rocky lava, and bridges, like that iconic area there where you would fight Trigon in the one raid. If you also look at the prisoners that are there in that location, because there's normally prisoners in that PvP area, you would see various members of the I've lost my place here with Trigon personal possessed titans in the cells, and they would be crying out for help. So a sparring target is also on one side as well as on the other side. And what's that side? Mixies. Mixies spit like seasonal base items. I'm not being too descriptive with this. Like the balloon bows and Kryptonian, or sorry, not Kryptonian, Kiltipsian balloons, and a walking Mixie, some water balloons, and some fun-free stuff like that. Now, in the cells here would actually be Mixie. Remember the poses that you did in the One Who Waits alert, where you had to do those poses in order to be able to successfully pass through it? That's what you're seeing in those cells. Now, this room is extra special. I decided to do something a little bit special with this room to try to make it a little more fun. So, I want you to be able to hit a switch. And if you hit that switch, you can summon any random creature in the entirety of the game, in the open world, more likely, to practice your skills on. We have sparring targets, and that's nice, but they don't attack back. What if you could summon something so that you could practice on? It'd just be one ad, and you can just try out, like, let's say you're trying a new loadout, you're trying a new artifact, and you're trying to put it to the test, and you don't want to have to go to Metropolis or somewhere in game to try to find it. Just go to your HQ. Find that, hit the switch, and you're good to go. Moving on. To get to the power core, you need to touch Fate's helmet. Here resides Spectre and Eclipso themes. Macabre candle holders to merge with candles, so I believe in merging when it comes to base assemblies. Ritual candles and the purple crystal pedestal for Eclipso's side. And for Spectre's side, along the walls are green eyes of Geminis, fog in various varieties, gravestones, and more ritual circles with candles, but with a green crystal pedestal. Outside, we would see cosmic space, but with Eclipso, Spectre, Phantom Stranger flying by occasionally. Maybe even Dr. Fate. This room needs something special too. Here we will have banks. So kind of like what Johnny was saying, that he wanted to add something more iconic to what we have in Watchtower and Hall of Doom, and everywhere else, House of Legends. Let's get the banks. Let's actually have this room have a purpose. So the banks. Lastly, the command center is where I have the Monitor, World Forger, Anti-Monitor, and Perpetua theme. Various rock, debris, and sand piles with source wall throughout the entirety of the room. We see in the outside 4 giant statues of each character. Now, there's plenty of World Forge anvil, portals, anti-monitor base items that you can create from the seasonal that can be added to this room. Honestly, it's completely up to you. So, in the outside, you see the 4 giant statues. To make this room more beneficial, and to end my incredibly long answer here, is 1 mailbot in a room full of brokers. Whoever's next, go ahead.
That was very elaborate.
Yes, it was. I'll keep that much more simple.
I do too much.
I'll keep that a little too much. I'll keep that more simple. I would make a JC base. The Hall of Justice would be a great layer to have. I'll give Flashpoint that. But I would go, let's say, for a JSA layer. And we already have some assets. There's this mission where you have to go fight some of the JSA, like Hawkman and Alan Scott. So we already have some JSA assets built into the game. So it's not as if they would have to do it from scratch. But that's what I would like to see. A nice JSA layer that we could have for our characters. Obviously, it would be nice to get the Justice League layer, a Green Lantern layer. There's so many layers that would be nice to have. But let's go for the JSA for this answer.
JSA is very underrated, for sure. I agree.
Well, they were supposed to have a big comeback with DC Rebirth, which was delayed and delayed and delayed because of the sequel to Watchmen. I forget the name, Doomsday Clock. Basically that was supposed to happen after Doomsday Clock, but Doomsday Clock basically was late and late and late, so it pretty much delayed the return of the JSA. And by the time Doomsday Clock was done, there was some pretty much some sadly infighting behind the scenes at DC, and the whole thing was derailed. And eventually they finally added the JSA back, but it took way too long, and it pretty much I wouldn't say it fizzled, but it didn't have the impact it should have had.
It lost momentum.
It had no more momentum by the time they added it.
Yeah, it was a little too late at that point, or a lot too late. So my answer would either be, so I had, Nix has my answer because, so I originally said there's two different ways you could go with this. Because when Nix was going on about his idea, it did spark a few ideas with me. But my first answer was the Batcave. That's an area that heroes and villains have both gone to at many times before. There are so many different levels of the Batcave that are just filled with lore. They wouldn't have to add much to it. It could be an open zone. And for me, I feel like there could be so many different interactive things that you could build in from the comics. You could, so I feel that, you could go underneath the waterfall and see where the Batcave is hidden. Have like a little open, like fielded area so that you can see that the Batcave is being hidden. That could be like the exit out of the HQ, and then there's a teleporter that brings you to wherever you want to go. But I feel like one thing that I really love is that Earth 3 alert. If you've ever, been in there, I'm sure a lot of people have done it. It's called Injustice System. It's that Earth 3 alert, and there's a little side room, and there's little mementos and things of the Justice Society of that Earth. What's left of them, or some of their weapons that were left, their clothing. You even have Q Ranger, the last of his energy, because he couldn't be killed in the conventional way, so they just keep him in stasis. So I liked how they added like little tidbits to where you could read and kind of get some of the comic lore. I love little interactive things like that really fleshes out an HQ instead of it just being four walls and hallways and then, your regular mail, broker, all the general things. Those are pretty much a given. Try to flesh it out a little more. And then you could always have the Flash zooming in, talking to Batman every so often. So it's like he was on a mission or he's coming by to talk about something real quick, add a dialogue. The only problem is, of course, it's like the only hurdle, which now that I'm hearing myself talk, is that you'd either have to use some old Batman dialogue or Batman would be pretty silent for the most part.
Pretty sure they'll cast a new Batman someday.
You think?
Yeah.
I don't know.
But
I think they're just gonna reuse the assets the entire time for this point on.
But that's what I was thinking. And another area you could maybe think of, which would be kind of like if we're thinking along the lines of like Doctor Strange and like otherworldly stuff. How about the Tower of Fate? That is like literally a labyrinth, and you could have so many different locations you could go to. The Tower of Fate can open locations open up the locations that some places just can't get to, and it's like forbidden, or it's like not going to happen. You either got to go through that or maybe two other sources in that. So the Tower of Fate's a really great like central point for a lot of locations in the DC universe. You can put all sorts of like artifacts of fallen enemies, forbidden items. You could have prisons holding powerful prisoners. So there's so much you could do with that, so much lore driven. So either Batcave has his own prisoners, or he's got his diagnostic machines, his hospital area. There's a lot you can build on with those two maps, and they're kind of a wild card. You can always add teleporters in, and it makes sense. So that's kind of my idea. So either Tower of Fate or the Batcave. I think the Batcave is cool because a lot more people are used to it at this point in the game. So for them coming in and seeing some new zones already built on to the general scope of it, it would be really nice. And I think they've already got a really good like base layout as it is, or HQ layout as it is. It's quite robust.
Interesting choices between us four is what we were thinking here for this HQ. You guys, again, let us know what you guys think. Rapid fire question. I do like how we did a lot of the combining with some of our answers. I do like that. So rapid fire question. Back to you, Iconic. So for the kind of guy who once said, and I quote, "Style series videos are for my enjoyment and a way to pass time between episodes." What style video are you most proud of?
I gotta say, I'm most proud of the wet paint material video. That was the one that struck it big, and I had the most enjoyment out of that because I really liked the wet paint material. I felt it was a stepping stone in the right direction in terms of materials for the game. And the rest of the player base pretty much agreed with me because of the view count on that was insane for the time of me creating my videos. It was a big deal, and to this day, it is one of the most used besides the shaded comic material. The shaded comic and the wet paint material are easily two of the most used of the material. So that one was a lot of fun to make because it opened up a lot more avenues that had a lot of issues, but now that kind of helped get rid of a lot of those issues. It provided a lot more independence and freedom in making styles in general. So for me, that was amazing, and to this day, it still holds up.
All right, Johnny, do you want to take it from here?
Yeah. So I just have one last big question for everybody. What mechanics in an open world boss do you enjoy going against? And also, what is your favorite open world boss?
I wouldn't say there's a mechanic per se, but I kind of like the Wonderverse bosses. The way they did that, I thought it was a neat idea. They overdid it by trying to do it every DLC, but other than that, I thought it was a fun idea to have to defeat one boss and you defeat the next, and then once you're done with all the bosses, you move on to the Hydra. So I thought that was a neat thing. And they tried to do it right after again with the Legion of Superhero DLC, and then it became too much because people were still playing the Wonderverse bounties at the time, and now you had to play the Wonderverse bounties and the Legion bounties, and it became too much all at once. If they had done that like once a year as opposed to trying to do that every DLC, it probably would have been much better received. What can you do? So I kind of liked that. I wish they would go back to that at least once a year. They should give us something like that because at the time it did keep us busy quite a bit. People were busy playing and replaying the bounties for quite a while because also there were the alternate rewards we could get from those bounties, which gave us extra reasons. There wasn't just the feats that people were trying to get. We were trying to also to get the currency to get some of the rewards. And there was some OP. What was it, elite style? There was some elite gear that you could get, like elite weapons, elite rings. So it was a nice system where it gave you a lot of stuff to do, and it gave you a lot of rewards to get for your efforts. Anyway, next.
All right. So I agree with Multi. I feel like it gave people plenty to do. They felt like they were building towards something, and there was uh, they felt like they had something they could keep doing. They could keep progressing. There was one thing after another, so they always had something to do. It kind of made a plan for them, so they didn't have to really worry about that too much. Just in general for mechanics, let me look here. So I like mechanics to. Another reason why I like those bounties is because of the mechanics, the strength of those mechanics, and how they work depends on the size of the group. So I think that's a lot more friendly to when you only have you and a few friends, or you and another person. It's not impossible if it's not within their time zone and at that time of day or night, whether they're able to get it done or not. So I like that, and I like, and this kind of branches on to what he was talking about. People need variety, and I feel like those bounties provided variety for people, so it wasn't the same thing. Another example, but not quite the same, was the Dark Knights and Death Metal. You didn't know which one you'd get; you just see them pop up. But when you saw the one that you really liked pop up, that was fun. It wasn't the same boss over and over again. So it was Spice of Life, definitely something that brought a little extra, and you didn't feel burnt out because it wasn't the same enemy over. So,
Yeah.
and I feel that group based mechanics and having to like dodge stuff and all that, I think that's fine. I think that's cool. I kind of like those sort of mechanics. So my favorite bosses would have to be like Control Doomsday, Moontouch Gorgon, Shadow Golem, Ares from Patchwork. So along those lines. So scaling group mechanics, interchanging bosses, and just a variety of life like mechanics. Not nothing too crazy or punishing, but you're gonna get hurt if you don't pay attention. Those sort of mechanics.
Nice. Actually, that's actually kind of funny because that's what I was first thinking for my answer. But then I
Yeah.
thought about mine a little bit more. So, Johnny, do you want to go next?
Yeah, I'm gonna keep mine a little simplistic here. Basically, so here's the thing. I don't have one for a specific open world boss, okay? I have one for overall bosses. I like bosses that have mechanics that will basically kill you, like how Iconic said, like if you don't pay attention, you can die, no matter what role you are. But they're also just relatively not hard to beat either, like you just need to pay attention. Um, like for example, Doomsday, as he mentioned, with Control Doomsday. Like if you just don't pay attention, you don't get the turrets down, you don't get out of the way when he's doing the spinning around with the what's it called, the helicopter. Yeah, I like it when it's just like you can just basically eat a sandwich in one hand and still play the game and survive, But it's also like if you just stand there like in a buffoon, you're gonna still die, you know. Because here's the thing: at the end of the day, I come here to have fun, right? I don't come here to stress out. I don't want it to be too difficult where I'm wiping every 2 seconds. Especially as a tank, that should never happen. So if I die to an open world boss, that's a sign that there needs that either A, I am underleveled, or B, that the boss is too hard. And most of the time, it's just like, okay, the boss just needs to be adjusted. And most of the cases, I don't die at all. So luckily, I'm good with that. Um, but yeah, I'd say things like Doomsday. I like that one a lot. I liked some of the patchwork stuff. I liked that a lot as well. The only thing that I kind of didn't like personally is some of the ones that would one-shot you. Like I don't know if you remember in Flashpoint, but Merc could basically one-shot you if he charges at you. That I think is like bullcrap. Like yeah, you could dodge out of the way, but like, man, if he does hit you that one time, you're done for. That's about it.
Yeah, I still die to him sometimes, so I totally agree. It's just timing. That's all. But yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So the type of bounty I prefer is the one with a lot of mechanics going on as well, as you guys have already stated, where it pretty much requires coordination with a group in order to win the bounty. Back on episode 1 of our Let's Talk, we had a question of creating a DLC, and I talked about how some mechanics are more important than just the straight up damage in order to be able to successfully beat the bounty. Although we don't have many of those, I prefer a bounty with a lot going on. with more than one boss to fight. Although the best solo boss, and I'll stand on this hill if I have to, being all by myself on this, that's truly a test for DPSs is Dr. Light or Superman in Metropolis Battlezone. Argue with me with that all you like. You're wrong. You think otherwise. I think the Fearsome 5 bounty.
Hello.
I think the Fearsome 5 bounty in Static Shock's DLC is my personal favorite. It took the 5 members and allowed each of them to do the mechanics they already do in game. Now, it's all of them, but 3 at a time until you defeated all 5. You don't need to describe what happens in this fight. I'm pretty sure everybody's fought those Fearsome 5 members more than once. But there's plenty of ads that happen in the fight. There's one-shot mechanics that can occur that allow the player for this fight to still be fun in my eyes. Knowing when to block break an enemy, when to block, use a soda or supply, is fun when it comes to bounties. But I like multiple bosses at once. It truly keeps you on your toes. And that's what I got for that one. So, what do you guys think? Whose idea would be the most plausible? You'll have to let us know.
Let me give you a hint, guys. Mine.
No, it's gonna be mine. Just admit it now. Okay. All right. We're almost at the finish line, and all I have is one final question for our guest. Oh, wait, no, I missed a question. Sorry. Hold on. Judging by your videos, Iconic, to say that your content has evolved over time would be an understatement. Since you started 7 years ago, how has your editing game changed? And what do you find you're doing differently now? Like, I had noticed at one point you had no introduction, then you had a baseline of an introduction with Brainiac involved, and now you've gone full-fledged into it, and it sounds a lot more crisp now in your mic. But what other things?
By the way, I love it.
You always find little shortcuts. So if anybody's wondering, I use a software called Shotcut. It's open sourced and it gets updated quite a bit. It's not too bad. It wasn't very expensive either. But I always find little shortcuts, and I'm always doing little things. I'm like, ooh, so that's what that does. And then after a while, you'll find out that, oh, I could have just done this, or they'll do an update, and it's just amazing. So, and people don't realize how much time goes into editing. I did not know how much time goes into editing. So I definitely had a lot more respect for content creators when you realize how much time goes into editing, especially with all the little snippets, the little slide in and outs, all of those things. There's a lot of work that goes into that. And, you know, it could be for, I don't know, a 10, 15-minute video, but that could easily be an hour of work, maybe a little longer. It just depends on what you're doing there. But for me, I've always wanted to do a little extra with the intros or add little things because I thought it was fun. I figured it would add a little extra to it. I wanted it to feel organic. So, and they just started out as little like imagination, like things in my head, and I'm like, man, that'd be cool if I could pull that off. And then there I am for like 4 hours making an intro and an outro, and I'm like, well, that's done. I'm like, and it looks good. So, so yeah, I've really had fun doing that. So that and making thumbnails are just like I enjoy doing that. So the making the videos great and all, but just like tweaking it, doing the thumbnails, like I'm a kid in a candy shop, man. Like for me, that's fun. Like I enjoy that.
I got an extended question onto this actually. Okay, how did you get the voice of Brainiac to say what you wanted it to say?
Okay, so if some of y'all have been around with the game for quite a while, they would give out little pets for being a member. I kind of wish they still did that. Well, there's this one that's called the partially assimilated servo. And it's let me see if I can go ahead and read it off here real quick. So basically, it says, it calls an affected 25th century security robot to attack your enemy. Servo's programming is quite resilient and has partially resisted Brainiac's attempts to assimilate him. So basically, Servo starts off with something, and then Brainiac cuts him off and finishes up the line. So I literally sat in my Tower of Fate base, turned off everything off, and just put the pet out and recorded the lines. And I picked the ones that were the funniest. So I had the style based one in the intro, and then the one that's like, I'm trying, or I'll see you in the future, for like the outro, like the goodbye, I'll see you in the future. And it says, that belongs to Brainiac. I thought that was like such a cool little like nod and a great touch to it. So it's little like stuff like that that just makes me giddy like a kid when I can do little things like that. And and people think that's corny or goofy, and they still think it's like fun. I enjoy that. I really love that.
Multi, I know I've asked you that same question, but can you throw your 2 cents into that also? What kind of things have you changed over your years?
A lot has changed. I often see people worry too much when they try to start making YouTube videos. And sadly, when you get started, you're going to make a lot of mistakes. So if I would have one advice to give to people who are hesitating to launch a YouTube channel, just do it. You're going to make mistakes and you're going to learn from them. And after a while, you'll have no choice but to improve. You cannot do something 5 times, 10 times, 200 times and not improve over time. When I started making videos, I bought a PS4 and it took me 2 or 3 months to finally decide to make those videos, and it took me a while to figure out how to do it. Because at first the PS4 you could only record about 15 minutes of footage on your PS4 at a time. So if I wanted to make videos longer than PS4, I would have to either record multiple videos and then try to put them together, or the solution I used at the time was that if you went on Twitch at the time, you could record. I don't know. I assume you could record as long as you wanted. I think the longest I did was like 3 hours on Twitch. But so basically, when I wanted to make a longer video, I would go live on Twitch, and a lot of my videos early on, my first 100, 200 videos, a lot of those videos are done live on the spot. So there was no editing at the time. And even the shorter videos, I wasn't doing much or any editing at the time. If I knew I had just a short video, then I would record it on PS4 and then upload it to YouTube if it was shorter than 15 minutes. But the longer videos, I would go to Twitch, and then I would make my longer video and then put that on you. And then you could not keep your video on Twitch at the time. Sadly, after X amount of days, your videos would disappear. So what you had to do is that you had to transfer it from Twitch to YouTube at the time. And so I did that for quite a while, and there was at the time no editing at all. And then eventually, I started making video directly on YouTube. There was some changes made to the PS4. You could record longer, but also you could record also directly on YouTube. You could live stream directly on YouTube. So there's a point in time where I was doing, I think I was doing one live stream almost every day on YouTube, and plus the additional videos that I was making. So at some point, I started using softwares like Windows, what's it called again? Windows Movie Maker to do my editing. So if I was doing the editing on PC, I would use a Windows Movie Maker. But then on PlayStation, I started using something called Share Factory. It comes by default with your PlayStation, so you don't have to install anything. It's already there, and it worked well enough. Yeah, there's probably if I could. Sometimes there's some functions from Share Factory that I don't have in Movie Maker, and sometimes there's things on Movie Maker that I wish Share Factory could do. But overall, these two options work well enough, and depending on the type of video I make, sometimes I'll use Movie Maker, sometimes I'll do it straight with Share Factory. And as time went by, I started editing my videos more and more and more. For a bunch of reasons. Also, I come from animation, and in animation, there's, let's say, a way to edit a TV show. When I was a storyboard supervisor, I would do a lot of editing of the storyboards. And there's a flow to a TV show that is quite different than on YouTube. And at first, I was trying to do kind of like a TV show, but on YouTube, the editing is much quicker, much faster. So as time went by, I stopped trying to do longer edit the way you would do in a TV show, and I started doing a quicker edit and also jump cuts. Jump cuts are a big no-no when you work on a TV show, but on YouTube, everyone does it because better to have a jump cut and not to waste people's time than to try not to have a jump cut. I'm probably not explaining it properly, but basically on YouTube, a lot of people want things fast, fast, and fast. And if you spend too much time, like sometimes I remember some people would complain if I had like 2 seconds of dead time in a video. Sometimes I would get comments telling me that, complaining about that. So as time goes by, you learn to tighten your editing, to leave less and less dead time. And also at some point I started adding, I added the multiverse logo that's animated at the start of the video. I added the thingy for the thumbs up. I added the other thing for the subscribe. So as time went by, I added more and more stuff to the process. Which again, when you start, you have to develop a production process that works for you. I've seen people who try to make YouTube videos where it would take them 3 months to make one video. Yeah, they made like in some cases they made something that was like almost a TV quality level, but it took them 3 months to do the freaking thing, and they spent $10,000-15,000 to do it for the video. And people seem to think that if you create a good video and you put it on YouTube, it'll go viral, it'll be seen by millions of people, and you'll make millions of dollars. It doesn't work like that. You have to build your channel one video at a time. And if you have a process where you can create only one video every 3 months, you're in trouble because you have to produce a lot more content than that. Uh, Luckily, the way I learned how to make the content allows me, if I wanted to, I could make sometimes 2-3 videos per day. One of the issues with that sometimes is lack of new content from DCUO. Sadly, there are times where there's not really anything new about DCUO. So when there's long windows when DCUO doesn't release new content, it makes it a bit more challenging to make videos. And yeah, there's always videos about making Batman style videos or Superman style videos. But there's only so many Superman style videos you can make at the end of the day, or so many Batman styles you can make at the end of the day. So usually it's something I would do like once a year, and even then sometimes I would skip a year. But for the editing, as time goes by, you edit your video tighter and tighter and tighter, so that you don't have too much dead time or as little dead time as possible. Also for the intro, at some point someone suggested I should have an intro and an outro, and it was a disaster. With the intro, 5 seconds into the video, half the audience would be gone. So I pretty much stopped doing the intro after a while. The only intro I really need is hello heroes and villains, welcome to multiverse. That's it, quick and fast. So that, because again, sadly people on YouTube don't want to waste their time. If you do make an intro that's 30 seconds, 2 minutes long, it better be a pretty darn good intro, and it better keep people's interest, because people will click away. They won't care to watch a 2-minute intro.
Like Iconics.
I think Iconics is great. I love it, you
Mine
know?
is like 4 or 5 seconds tops, maybe if that. Um, it's like if somebody's gonna watch it's got to be fun. It's got to be something. It's got to be somewhat entertaining. Um, but yeah, I see sometimes these intros just in general on YouTube, and they're like super long. And guess what you're doing?
You skip.
Everybody's double clicking. They're skipping. They want to get past that. So
Either you skip,
Worst.
or worse, you go watch something
just
else.
leave. Yeah.
The worst intros, in my opinion, are the ones that just put loud dubstep music and they have like all these crazy animations flying over the screen. It's just like, what the hell's going on? You know, like,
So,
you're trying too hard.
And the worst is when someone does like a 4-minute video and has like a minute and a half intro. That makes no
True.
sense. That
Uh,
or again, they have a 3-minute video, but the first minute and a half is them saying subscribe, like, and then they try to plug something else, and then at the end of the day, the video is only like a minute and a half long of actual content. So there's quite a few things like that you kind of learn after a while, either to do or not to do.
yeah.
All right.
So,
All right. So
respect your audience's time. I think
Yes.
that's basically the gist from that.
That's a pretty
Um,
important bit. Yes.
yeah.
all right.
So,
All right.
kind of with my style videos, it's like if they're going to be here and they're going to watch my content, like you'll see in my videos, like I used to have it centered. Now I have them off to the side. I zoom up. I try to crispen it as much as I can so that they're getting the best they're getting the best visuals possible, you know? And I think that really draws people in. It's really underrated, but yeah, yeah.
Right.
All
Yeah,
right.
that's another thing.
All right.
Sometimes you can zoom in on some details or to try to pay to bring their attention to something specific.
Yeah.
All right. Last question here for Iconics. Very quick here. In one of your earlier videos or earlier style request videos, you were asked if you could provide locations to how you assembled your style so that someone could follow it and try for themselves. Do you regret not researching those locations and posting them beside your character as you showcase them off? Or is it more than about allowing the viewer to just observe and appreciate what you've accomplished?
So I probably wouldn't be able to put out as many styles because then I would have to edit all that in or try to get it all together at one point in the comment section, and that would delay the video by a bit. I prefer to just take them as they come along to see what people have interest in, and then I feel it gives them a personal touch when I'm able to respond to them. So because there's been times where I've like left a message on a YouTube channel or whatever, just in general, not exactly DC, and you don't get a response. It's not necessarily bad on them, but also at the same time, it's like you feel valued if you get a response back. So at least I'm on the role that as long as it's not like a really like bad comment, I'm always gonna heart your comment. I'm always gonna show my support. I'm always gonna, and if you got a question, I'm always gonna go ahead and give you a reply most of the time for the most part. Like and I feel that gives it a personal touch, and I feel that people like really enjoy that, and I like to facilitate that. So, and like I said, if I don't know where it's from, I always put them over, always send them over to the DCUO wiki. I always put links in there because guess what? There's a lot of talented, hardworking people that run that. There's like an army of like I don't know 20 to 30 people, at least that I know. There could be more. That at least that I know of, that like keep that relevant like all the time. And they constantly update that information like behind the scenes. And this is something we kind of like, if you want to look up something, you can go check out the wiki. But there's a lot of work that goes into that.
Right.
So
we take advantage of that, don't we? Really?
Exactly. I don't want to say we take it for granted, but kind of in a way sometimes. So I feel that needs to be utilized. It's got a lot of really good information that is still relevant to this day, and they keep adding a ton every single day or every other day. It's almost constant. So I don't want to kind of lowball the sound of what efforts they do in the background to make sure all the information there is relevant and up to date. So I generally send people over there. I use Google. I Google, get that wiki link, and I'll send it over to them. And then they can get all the information that they need from there. And it's making everybody's hard work that goes into that well worth it because there are people that are checking it out. So it's kind of a pillar of the game in a sense, and so it should be utilized. So yeah, for sure. And then if people have like requests or whatever, I may not be able to do them immediately, but definitely when I see a chance and something comes along, sometimes I'm just waiting for a style that I know is coming along, or seasonal, or I know something's coming up. I'll hold something off knowing that something better that's going to make that style better comes along. I'm like, oh, let's see what we get for Christmas. Or like that Orange Lantern video, I held off on that for a while because I wanted to use the Christmas background with the Orange Lantern battery. So little things like that, why I do what I do, or why I don't do things immediately, because I have a plan for them. So I'm always looking to deliver as much as I can to my subscribers, and to make sure that they're well represented and they're well heard.
All right, Johnny, want to send us out?
Yeah, well, just before we leave, I just wanted to see if anybody in the comment section or in the live chat has any other questions that would like to be answered before we basically conclude this stream. Just give everybody a little chance, you know?
Yeah, while they're coming up with their possible questions, I noticed that a lot of them are talking about having their characters drawn, and I just wanted to plug Iconic's charity fund that he's got going on. I've noticed in your charity link that you have Iconic that if people donate a certain amount of money towards your fund, towards the Extra Life for Kids, and I was going to say this actually at the very end, but I might as well just say it now, that you would draw some of these individuals and their characters. Can you describe that a little bit?
Okay, so here's what I do. I don't draw as much as I trace. So here's generally what I do. I have this really cool AI app that I have. So basically, to make sure I get the details perfectly, so it doesn't screw up any of the details or change out however it wants, I get as close to the source character as possible. I basically trace out the character or the character design. Like I've had some friends send me some pictures that they had or whatever, and they were kind of grainy, but I knew what styles they had. And me having a ton of styles, I can recreate that, go on my base, take a cleaner screenshot, and then I trace out everything in Paint 3D, and then I put it through the app, and then I do like 3 to 4 copies in different genres of styles, like the style genres, like anime. You could have like sci-fi, like all different ones like that, and then I'd go ahead and give it to them. And I think like for 4 copies of your character, it's like $5. And then there's one where you get 4 copies of your character with a background. In the background, that's like 7. But
Nice.
yeah, and it goes towards the children's hospital, and you get a cool AI drawing of your character in DCUO.
Nice.
You know, and yeah,
we'll
and try to
definitely make
this
sure that
details
Multi.
close. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll definitely make sure that Multi has it in the comment section down below. Is there any other questions that we have here? I didn't see any.
There was
There's a
Lego
question
Master who
here.
asked, "Is the game dead? I can't get a raid." Sadly, we're in the season that is called summer, where a lot of people are gone on vacation. Normally,
Well, not just that. It depends on what server you are. Like, if you're an Xbox, that's to be expected. If you're on PlayStation, it's a little less expected.
yeah, but no matter what server you are, people are gone on vacation, so there is a lower population either way. But yeah, on the servers like Switch on Xbox or the European servers, yeah, the population must be really low right now. Uh,
Yeah.
in the past, it would go down. Basically, the population will really go down on July 4th, all the way until maybe end of August. There were a few exceptions to that, like when we got the Wonderverse DLC, that brought back a whole bunch of people at the time. But normally, from July 4th, the population drops like a rock, and they start coming back towards the end of August, early September, maybe. But since we got a sort of virus of unknown origin that kept people inside for 2 years, the summer vacation starts earlier now. Now we can, as soon as June 1st is around the corner, we already see a lot of people already leave on vacation much earlier than before. But then again, once we reach July 4th, it drops even more. Ideally, they should come back end of August. Sadly, last year that did not happen. And even Batman Day, last year, Batman Day brought some people, but not that many. And even the DLC in October did not bring back that many people. Ironically enough, last year, what brought back a lot of people is the new character creation system we got and the new slimline styles we got. That brought back a lot of people somehow. So for this year, who knows what's going to happen? Are people going to come back end of August? And even worse, this year we don't have a Save the Universe, so that's not going to help. Save the Universe would probably have brought back some people, but this year we don't have it. So sadly, if you have a hard time finding people right now, I would say hang in there. Hopefully by the end of August, early September, people will come back. If not, we'll have to adapt to the new situation, I suppose.
I see a question here. It's more so directed towards Multi. How do you get the S from the CSA on your Crime Syndicate Superwoman?
It's the Superwoman emblem. Do you have a broker nearby? Iconic?
Broker would be.
I have a. Yes, it's right over here. Come right
Straight to your
over
right.
here.
Straight to your
Right
right.
here. Right inside the lamp. There you go.
So you should be able to get it from Booster Gold in the House of Legends. But if somehow you don't want to use Quarks, which I wouldn't be surprised, not everyone wants to use Quarks. It should be here still. Oh, there it goes. So you can get it here for about 10 millions, or there's the enhanced version for 23 millions. So that would be the less bad option to get it. Otherwise, you're gonna have to go see your friend Booster Gold in the House of Legends, and you're gonna have to buy it from him.
Last question that I saw on here was: do you guys think the devs will ever fix DCU in the near future? Kind of a loaded question. What do you mean by fix? That's so broad.
You want me to take this?
Sure.
Okay, so they have been fixing a bunch of bugs in the background. They have been talking about that on the forums. I do recommend you checking out the forums because they have been saying that they've been going back doing quality of life bug changes as they go along and as they do development. Now, exactly which ones? Don't quote me on it. I don't know exactly, but I know it is a priority effort on their part to do that as well as make the content that they already have slotted. So, and like from the emotes and the styles and all the interactive stuff that they've been making, I know it's only the style side and it's the art department and who else makes it. I'm seeing great care in these products that they're making for us, these items that they're making for us, and they communicated that they are trying to fix bugs. So I would give them the benefit of the doubt and say yes, they are trying to fix it, and I think they actively are trying to fix it. Exactly what though, I don't know. I can't speak for them. I'm only going off of what they say on the forums, and it seems pretty promising because it's all new people for the most part.
Yeah,
Fresh set of eyes.
that's part of the issues is that at this point, guys, uh, you have to realize that we pretty much have a whole new team of devs. Sadly, a whole bunch of devs left with Jackster, damn, almost 2 years ago now, and some of those that were left, a lot of them were laid off last February. So I think other than there might be Red Five, Glitter, and maybe a couple of others that are from way back when. But at this point in time, yeah, I have to expect that we pretty much have a new team of devs that are trying to learn how to run the game, and sadly, they seem to be a bit overwhelmed right now. And the worst part is that like the next DLC will still be basically content made by the older devs. We are only going to see the real content by the new devs probably next March with the DLC that we'll get probably around March. So sadly, right now the devs are trying to catch up. They're trying to learn how to use the game. They're trying to learn how to make the content. In some cases, I would say they're probably even trying just to learn how the game actually works, how to play the game. Something that's been obvious for a long time is that a lot of the devs, even before, even in the older team of devs, suddenly a lot of the devs don't play Decent Online. It's sad, but that's how it is. We saw that with the allies when they gave us the allies. Holy crap, that was a whole bunch of. You could tell that whoever came up with the allies never played Decent Online. So sadly, right now, yeah, the devs are struggling. The game is struggling. The forums are struggling. Iconic was mentioning the forums, but even I don't even go to the forums anymore because the freaking thing is almost unusable right now. So I've been going to the Discord a bit more because of that. But basically, at this point in time, the devs are trying to catch up. They're going to announce the next DLC next Friday, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe one of you guys can correct me if I'm wrong.
Just September is all I've heard.
No, but they're going to announce it at some
Yes.
Comic Con.
At the Comic Con. I don't remember the name though.
So Friday we should have more information about the next DLC. Hopefully, knock on wood. But basically, the next DLC is still content from the older devs. So sadly, to see what the new devs have in mind, to see what they truly are capable of, we will have to wait until next March probably. Which sadly, and we've been waiting already for the past 2 years. We've been waiting and waiting for the devs to get back on track, to get back on the horse, as they says. And sadly, we're gonna have to wait. We're gonna have to wait 10 more months before we can actually see what they truly can do.
All right. Last thing I want to just quickly point out, a lot of people are talking about this one question that got brought up about mounts. So I want to go really rapid fire quick with all of you. If you were to have a mount in game, what would it be? I personally think the Batmobile would be cool.
The Mobius chair.
A motorcycle.
Hard light bicycle. Hard light motorcycle. Yeah, like a red lantern motorcycle with emblem on the side. Oh hell yeah.
We might make that into a Let's Talk.
Not a green lantern, an orange lantern motorcycle. Yeah.
I don't know. I think you're gonna get a lot more. I think you're gonna get a lot more horsepower with red lantern energy. That's all I gotta say.
We may have to throw that into a future Let's Talk. But all right, Johnny, why don't you go ahead and finish us off here, bud?
Yeah, I think it's time for us to conclude it. So that concludes our Let's Talk of episode 4. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody, and especially Iconic Simulation for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. And Nick's Multi, you have any last thoughts before we conclude?
No, guys, have a good rest of the weekend for whatever's left. And next Friday will be Evil Friday, for those who do not know. Normally the last Friday of the month is Evil Friday. The reason for that is quite simple. We get a lot of heroes, so most of the Live at 5, we do it with heroes because there's more heroes playing the game. But once a month, the last Friday of the month, we have Evil Friday for evil villains. So next Friday will be the last Friday of the month. So it will be Evil Friday. I'm not sure exactly what we're going to do for Evil Friday. They are going to announce the next DLC probably next Friday, so we might talk about that. But it's not going to give us new content to play. So odds are we might play the Brainiac content once more. Although we could play against the bounty with the villains. Last time we did that with the heroes. We're gonna have to wait and see for that. So sometime this week, I'll probably announce what we will do for Evil Friday. But depending on what kind of announcement we have on Friday or during the week, that could change. We're going to have to wait and see for that.
So last but not least... go ahead.
Yeah. I was just going to say, Iconic, do you have any plugs that you want to put in? Whether if it's like your channel or anything outside of that?
There are a lot of content creators that are out there. You should definitely follow them. There's Calidar, there's Achika, there is OnlyGen, there is Gaming Prodigy. There's just a whole bunch of people that are out there that are doing content. Definitely go ahead and check it out. There's Death Send You. He just started. He's doing amazing content. He's pumping out videos like crazy. He's being really receptive to requests and starting a really good base for his community on his channel. Definitely check him out. Yeah, I have a lot of those creators in my on my channel. At the bottom it says creators to follow. You can check them out right there underneath my channel. I've got all of them under there.
What about Discord? Do you have any servers, or do you have anything for social medias that people can follow?
I do have a server that is linked on my YouTube, so you can go ahead and check that out. It's right in my need to know info, like for the channel. So you can go ahead and check that out. I usually, it has what any other small server would have. So it has like the DC updates, and then I post the uploads, and then you can always ask questions on there if you'd like.
On the Discord server known as the Nexus. Also, he's also on Twitter or X, and also, of course, he's on YouTube. So we'll make sure we'll have all those in the comment section down below.
Got plenty of avenues so you guys can get the latest content from me or from DC. Definitely, for sure.
Perfect. Sounds good. We're good to go. Take care, guys.
Yeah, laters.
Have a good one.